So my name is Rohini, and what I wanted to understand is, so if everything is Jada, then we are basically Prakash, because what I understood from Kashmir Shaivism is that when you have both Prakash and Vimarsha, it is the Prakash that illuminates the Vimarsha, and then you have understanding. So when we are basically saying that if you only have Prakash, then there is no awareness, in which case then you are what it is. Is that what we're saying?
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. So if we are only awareness, what Rohini, the word Rohini used was Prakasha, which means light. We're just like light. Light illumines whatever comes in front of it. You see, like light is illumining this. Whatever comes in front of light is illumined. We are like that. Consciousness is like Prakasha. But then she brought in another system of philosophy called Kashmiri Shaivism. Kashmiri Shaivism says, our nature is not just like light, it's Prakasha, it's light definitely. Advaita, Vedanta, Sankhya, Yoga, they all say our nature is Prakasha, light. You are light shining, that's it, what you are. But Kashmiri Shaivism says, that's not enough. That light has to be aware of itself. It's not just illumining everything else, it has to also be aware that I am. That awareness should be there. Otherwise, the Kashmiri Shaivists, they criticize Advaita by saying that your Prakasha is as good as a rock because it does not know its own existence. So what they say is, the ultimate nature is not only Prakasha, not only light, but self-aware light. This is called Prakasha Vimarsha. Vimarsha means the reflexive awareness that I am. Shiva is of the nature of awareness, light, but also aware that I am Shiva. Then you said something which you think you said is Kashmiri Shaivism, but actually Kashmiri Shaivism falls apart at that point. What you said is actually Advaita. You said, so I believe that this Vimarsha is illumined by the Prakasha. Those are the words you used, I remember.
That's what I understood.
If you understood that Vimarsha is illumined by Prakasha, the self-awareness is illumined by Prakasha, you understood right. That's what Advaita says. That's where Kashmiri Shaivism, I think, in my opinion, trips. If you say that Vimarsha is illumined by Prakasha, immediately that Vimarsha becomes Jada, becomes an object. Prakasha illumines the Vimarsha. Vimarsha means I am Shiva. If that I am Shiva experience is illumined by Prakasha, by consciousness, then that Vimarsha becomes Jada. It is no longer part of Prakasha anymore. It's an object. Therefore, the ultimate reality, let me finish. The ultimate reality remains as Prakasha, not as Vimarsha. What Advaita Vedanta says is this. Follow this carefully, two-part answer. Advaita Vedanta says this Vimarsha, I am Shiva, is like I am Rohini. I am Sarvapriyananda. This is an activity of the mind. Can you do that? I am, at least I know I can't do it. I am Sarvapriyananda, I can't do it in deep sleep. Can you do it in deep sleep? But is Prakasha there in deep sleep? Yes. All these systems would say, Kashmiri Shaivism, Advaita, Sankhya, all would say in deep sleep, Prakasha is there. Consciousness is there, illumining the absence of everything. But you can't say, I am so and so. You can't do that in deep sleep. That reflexive awareness is not there. So pure, just follow your own experience. Track your own experience. So that's one answer, that one part of the answer. This reflexive awareness, I am so and so, that is part of the mind, not part of pure consciousness, not an aspect of pure consciousness. It requires the mind to do that. Where I think where Advaita would disagree with Kashmiri Shaivism, or Kashmiri Shaivism would disagree with Advaita, they import a cognition of the mind into the ultimate reality. It requires the mind to make that judgment. All right. Now, what about then the original criticism remains of Kashmiri Shaivism? Then your Prakasha is not self-aware. Then, for example, without body, mind, Prakasha would not be aware of itself at all. It's as good as a rock. When you say Prakasha illumines the world like light, but that illumination also depends on mind, senses and body. Through the mind, senses and body. By itself, it does not illumine anything. It does not illumine itself, it does not illumine anything. Your Prakasha is like a rock, like a table. It becomes almost like a jada. Even if it's consciousness, it has no feature of being conscious. The answer there in Advaita Vedanta is that what we call Swaprakasha, self-luminous. Self-luminous means like the light. So the light, to see anything in this room, suppose it's dark, you need to switch on a light. Then everything in the room will be revealed. All the non-luminous entities in the room will be revealed when you switch on the light. What did you need to see all these things in the room? You needed to add light. I want to see table. You need to add light. Look, literally, light has been added to it, then I can see the table. Light is reflected back to my eyes. What do you need to see the carpet? You have to add light to it. What do you need to see the ceiling? You have to add light to it. If I ask, what do you need to see the light? Will you have to say you have to add light to it? No. You don't need to switch on another light. The light reveals itself and illumines everything else. This is called Swaprakasha, self-luminous. Then you will say, how is this different from Vimarsha? It is different. See, this was in darkness. This is how it's different. This was in darkness. Light came and removed the darkness and revealed the existence of this thing. Was the light ever in darkness? No. So the self-revealing nature of light, this is called self-luminosity, Swaprakasha. It does not reveal itself by destroying darkness. It's not that it was unknown, covered in darkness, then it destroyed the darkness and revealed, like it reveals jada objects. Light does not reveal itself like that. Consciousness does not reveal itself like that. Consciousness reveals by shining. Further follow-up question might be, we're entering very subtle levels of analysis. Further follow-up question might be, wait a minute. Then to do anything, this consciousness of yours requires mind, senses, body, world. It depends, after all, for any experience on the jada. Your consciousness depends on the jada, does it not? And this is where Sankhya and Yoga, the system we talked about earlier, they will say yes. They are fundamentally dualistic systems. So you say consciousness depends on the jada, Purusha depends on Prakriti, and Prakriti depends on Purusha. How? They give the classic example of a lame man and a blind man. The blind man can't see anything. The lame man can see but cannot walk. So what they do is the lame man climbs on the shoulders of the blind man, and the lame man gives directions to the blind man. Go this way, do this, and this way. And the blind man carries the lame. So the blind is nature, material nature, Prakriti, object, jada. And the consciousness, the sight, drishti, is given by consciousness itself, by Purusha, by Sakshi, by the Prakasha. And the two together, they depend on each other. Consciousness depends on nature for any kind of action, any kind of activity, any kind of... and nature depends on consciousness for experience. Without consciousness, no experience is possible, no anubhava is possible. What we call life itself is... life means our living life, not the prana, the experience of life. That itself is not possible without consciousness. The same intuition, I think it was Einstein who said, in a much broader sense, he said, science without religion is blind. Religion without science is ineffective. I'm paraphrasing. I'm sure Einstein didn't say exactly this, something like that. So the two of them together. So consciousness and matter. What does Advaita say? Advaita says, no, consciousness does not depend upon material nature. Chaitanya, Sakshi, does not depend upon jada. You do not depend upon the jada. What do you mean? In two senses. One, straightforward, easy to understand. Other one, very subtle, very difficult to understand. One, straightforward, easy to understand, because in Advaita Vedanta, consciousness is the ultimate reality. So what you call jada, this body, mind, senses, they are ultimately nothing but the effects, the products, the appearance of consciousness. Consciousness alone is appearing as this universe. So it's not that consciousness depends on the jada, on the table, on the light, on the eyes, on the mind. No. It is mind, table, light, eyes, all of them depend on the Atman, consciousness and existence, for their own existence and for their illumination, satta and spurti. Do you follow this? So Atman, Brahman, consciousness, Prakasha, is the reality on which the jada depends, because the jada is an appearance of that. Let me give an example. Dreams. I'll ask you a question. In our dreams, it could be that you're walking around and seeing nature, people, places. You're hearing beautiful music. You're tasting a nice cookie and smelling fragrant flowers. And you are walking. Now, if I ask, are you seeing this beautiful nature? Say yes. With what are you seeing? The first answer will be with eyes. But when we wake up, what will you say? That in my dream, with my eyes, I saw the beauties of nature. I heard beautiful music with my ears. No, you will say the whole thing was imagined in the mind. All the seeing, hearing, smelling, even the eyes and the ears also were imagined by the mind. In the dream, there is nothing but the dreaming mind. Is it that? It's not true. It is the mind by itself which appears to be seeing. It's the mind by itself which appears to be hearing. In the dream, there were not actual eyes, the physical eyes and ears and actual forms and sounds to be heard. Whole thing, the object and the subject and the instruments of knowledge, eyes and ears, they were all imagined in the mind, dreamt in the mind. True or not? So the mind does not depend, the dreaming mind does not depend on the eyes and ears in the dream to see or hear in the dream. No, it doesn't. It's the eyes and ears in the dream which depend on the dreaming mind. Exactly like that here in this waking world, it is you, the awareness, upon which the entire waking world depends. Really, awareness does not depend on this waking world for anything.
Thing is quite tough. It's okay
Yes,
to understand.
getting your head around that kind of thing is quite tough. However, one help might be, one practical help is to listen again and again, to study again and again. To study. Then it's an unfamiliar way of thinking. But these examples help. Listening to it again and again helps. And what helps powerfully is if you, as Americans say, keep it real. Keep it real means connect it to yourself. When I say I am witness consciousness, just saying that sounds awfully abstract. But when I say forget the world, forget the body, forget thoughts, emotions, ideas, not remembering anything, not thinking of anything, not sensing anything, I still am. What is the nature of that I am? You begin to see, it's a fact. It's not a very abstract kind of thinking. It's what I am directly. One monk said this way, the way to understand Vedanta is like the child holding a nose. Yes. If you ask a child, what is a nose? The child will not say nose is that organ of, olfactory organ of smell, and that through which our respiration goes on. He will not say that. The child will say nose is this. This is a nose. You must be like a child in Vedanta. What do you mean by pure consciousness? Even if you can't explain it to anybody else, you can directly experience it for yourself. You're there all the time, you're there. Are you not conscious? And from consciousness, if you abstract objects, that is pure consciousness. It's there. It's you, literally you. It's the easiest of things to understand in one sense. But it's not an object, therefore it's not, because our understanding always tries to objectify, that's why we find it difficult.